how to grow and manage a small account through options trading. Welcome to the channel. My name is Dr. B. I'm a holistic life and business coach and strategist for entrepreneurs and thought leaders. I'm also an investor and an options trader for the last 6 years. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to get right to it. Maybe you're a person right now that's completely a beginner and you found this video. Maybe you're a part of my community and you just want to tap in and support. Thank you guys so much. But I want to make this video just because the number one question I typically get when people are trying to either get back into options trading, learn it, right? Maybe fearful of it. It's typically a misunderstanding or miseducation of the terms, but also the amount of money necessary to grow and generate income, right? We see big numbers on social media platforms. You see thousands of dollars a day. You see thousands of dollars a minute. You see $50,000 months, things of that nature. And you're like, wow, I don't really understand how that's happening, right? For some people that are beginners, if you know, you know, but I want to break it down to those people that where you can start right now with minimal risk. Okay. You can maximize your reward, right? Or your income, and you can start to gain a new skill set where you can make money when the stock market goes up and you can make it when it comes down, right? That is a powerful, powerful skill like no other. And I want you to be equipped with that skill set. All right. So disclaimer, this is not financial advice. So anything I'm saying on here, please ask below, message myself, book a call down below if you want to know more information. Join our Discord as well, which I'll share with you in just a minute. And I'd love to have you as a part of our community. Take this with a grain of salt, do your own due diligence, but we have done this before, right? And we have helped a lot of people do it, turning $60 into thousands of dollars, turning a $500 account and just extra $100 a week for a person. And then for those people that want to really learn this thing, really start with an account above $2,000 and grow and manage it appropriately. So where you're generating some income, then may be able to buy shares and accruing your long-term portfolio. That's a mouthful. Without further ado, you didn't come in here to hear me yap. You heard the title and you saw the title and you want to get right to it. So let's get right to it. All right. So the first thing I like to explain to beginners, intermediates, advanced is just simply simplifying the whole economy in general, as complex as it may seem. Here's the fear and greed index. The fear and greed index tells us potentially when to purchase, the best time to purchase shares, or when the market has potential for more upside, or potentially when the market's in fear, and then it creates buying opportunities where everyone is scared and the market's potentially tanking, okay, or healthy pulling back, all right? So we're right now in extreme greed at the time of this recording at the end of October of 2024. Now, this tells us that the market's at all-time highs. The market wants to continue higher, but as it gets closer and closer into this extreme greed scale here, we want to be a little bit more mindful that some profit taking can come in, right? A healthy pullback could come, and then we can go higher yet again, right? So this typically says that the market's in a very good position, right? That investors, hedge funds, the overall sentiment of the market is in a good place, right? But we want to be cautious up here with buying at this level, depending on what you're buying, all right? Greed, that means we have potentially more to go, want to continue to buy, want to continue to ride that momentum up. Neutral, hold, fear. Okay, there may be a little bit of worldly news or negative news that scares people out of their position. Okay, cool. That is when I want to consider buying some of my favorite companies that may have been knocked down, or some of the big companies that have pulled back to give me another opportunity to get in. Okay, if we're in extreme fear for options trading, that is a time we want to look at potentially buying long-term call options, meaning call, pick up the phone, going up. Put options are when we put down the phone, right? And we can make money coming down, all right? So this is a time where my community and myself, we're kind of playing on the cautious side right now. The market wants to continue higher, but we know that there are those drastic pullbacks that could come. So we've been leaning more towards the put side because there may be minimal more upside to go. All right. So there is ground rules number one for my beginners, intermediate, advanced, just to give you a general sentiment of how we, begin to look at call or put options. Okay. Now let's jump into the management of a small account. Okay. Where you should start. All right. So what I want to start with is a couple of terminologies that you may be familiar with. Okay, share, and then we have just share buying, and then we have just options, or just say trading. Okay, because there's different types of trading, right? We have options, we have equity, we have futures, we have Forex, we have typically crypto. Okay, so these are the ones that you may have heard of and you're not really sure which way to go. So I want to focus in on the options side and tell you the reasoning why I do believe that people should learn options, and then they can transition over to another type of asset class. But that's just my opinion. All right. So share buying is what most people are familiar with. I open up brokerage that I have my long-term portfolios, I have my retirement accounts, and I have some VTI, some VOO. Maybe I have some Apple in there, Tesla, whatever it is. And I just own those shares. So you own those shares. Okay. Trading, people get it a little bit conflicted, is that if you buy and then you sell that particular asset that you own, is technically a trade. Okay. So when people start out, they typically get this misconception that trading is always just this fast thing. I'm in and out of minutes and I don't have time for that. It takes too much money. It's too much risk. Right. So I want to kind of, debunk that a little bit and bring it back to reality. All right. So options trading. Okay. Let's go actually to equity first. I'm going to put that first. Equity. Okay. Because you need to learn the terms first so you understand how you get to managing the account for an options trade. Okay. So equity is a derivative of the share buying. Okay. Meaning that you own that share, but you're also trading it in a short period of time. So Apple right now, Apple is sitting at roughly $235 at the time of this recording in October of 2024. Okay. If I buy 100 shares of Apple right now, I can sell those 100 shares tomorrow if Apple goes up $2, right? So you do the math on that. I've made $2 times 100, right? So I've made $200 in that equity trade. So I bought the shares, sold the shares. Okay. So that works very well for people who have a lot of capital, right? You've got $100,000 that you want to trade with, but you don't want to trade options because maybe you don't know how, right? So you trade equity. Now, options trading is also a derivative of the equity trading, meaning that each contract, so you're trading contracts. Okay. And each contract includes 100 shares of said stock or index. Okay. So instead of buying 100 shares of Apple, that's going to cost me $23,000 roughly, I can buy an options contract that costs a fraction of that, 10 times less than that, for $200. Right. And it's going to move at an expedited rate because it includes 100 shares. Right. So I'll show you that towards the end of this. So stick around for that example on the charts. All right. So that is how you can understand, if you're a beginner, okay, I don't see how I can start with $500 and grow it to, $1,000 or $2,000 because I've owned shares and I'm still maybe not making that much. Right. So that is how you see options traders typically accruing their money at a very fast rate, because it's including 100 shares and they only need a very small movement in the stock price. Okay. So let's jump into how much you should start with. So these are some of the top questions I get when people are starting out or trying to grow a small account, or maybe recoup. Maybe an account has, gone or been blown and they want to start over. How do I manage it properly so I don't have to do that again? Okay. So how much should I start with? Fund your account with. Here are my recommendations. Okay. If you want to really start and learn this thing, let's just say an asterisk here. Okay. Learn and paper trade. I'm going to give you the realness of the gold standard. Okay. Because I don't want to misconstrue here and, misinform people that, hey, you can start with $5,000 and just jump in and buy a contract. Oh yeah, I know how to do this. And then you don't know the nuances of it, right? That's why I think it's important, no matter who you go to, join a community, trade with people, learn from a mentor, watch somebody, whatever it is, right? I think that's the value in a lot of these live trading groups that are doing it properly and educating people. Okay. So $5,000, in my opinion, is if someone really wants to learn after they've either paper traded or they want to get started, right? They can fund an account with 5,000. Okay. In the middle here is, hey, I want to start with a hefty amount to where I can buy pretty much any contract, right? I'm not limited, but I don't want to risk too much. Okay. So I typically recommend about 2,000, maybe 2,500. And then there's a lot of folks that just say, Brian, I just want to see what I can do. If I lose it, fine, whatever, $500, right? Now, I don't want to get people in that mindset because we want to think abundantly. And this is why I'm making this particular video, that $500 is going to be more difficult than a larger account. I'll repeat that again. $500 is typically more difficult than a $2,000 account. Okay. And I'll tell you as we go through this example. So let's just start with this $500 account just to include everybody on this video. If you're like myself or you're like anyone else and you just want to be like, man, I'm just going to go all in. I want to learn this thing. This is an investment into myself. And you want to start with one of the higher amounts, you do the math there. Okay. So $500. I like to split up into position size, risk, and then taking profit targets, or TP. Okay. TP targets. Where are you going to take profit? Okay. And how do you know when to take profit? Position size of a $500 account. So I personally like to use the rule of thirds or fifths for management of account. That means that I'm not going to risk. Now, some of you, hey, do what you want to. That means you're just flipping, right? You just want to flip an account very quickly. And I think that's what's going wrong with the industry in doing some of these small account challenges for, hey, we can flip this account very quickly. You want to build the right habits. So 1/3 of the account. Okay. So that means you're only using 1/3 of the $500. That means that each position that you place on a trade is going to be $166. That means that I can grab one $166 contract. I can grab two $80 contracts, and then I can build on that 15%, 20% per trade, right? Those base hits, right? And from there, I can begin growing the account properly while learning. Where else are you getting 20% on your money? So even if I have $166 in there and I get 20%, that's $30, right? Now, I know it might not seem like a lot, but once you start increasing your position size and your account size, that 30% on a $1,000 trade is $300 per day. Get my drift? So you build these habits properly, they're going to accrue slowly but surely. Now, if you want to take a risk off approach, as we say, then you're going to want to use 1/5 of the account, which would only yield you $100 per trade. Okay. So you can kind of look at it as I have some extra, I don't want to use that term. Some people use like the term bullets, right? You may have an extra shot at it, right? I got 5 shots, right? I got 5 shots, 5 chances to take a trade today. I've got 3 chances to take a trade. 2 out of 3, cool. I'm positive and green for the day, right? 3 out of 5, I'm positive green for the day. Okay. 5 out of 5, great. Maybe I don't even have to use all 5 chances. I have one good trade. I'm like, I'm done for the day, right? Made my $30, made my $100, whatever it was. Okay. So here, one $100 contract or potentially 2 $50 contracts. And I'll show you again, stay to the end, what these contracts look like. So you see that $500, it gets pretty tough because you don't really have a lot of room to, misstep, right? Oh, I took a bad trade. And then you're like, golly, I'm already down, right? So this is, in my opinion, I challenge myself each year with a small account, right? Just to make sure that my skills are sharp, that I'm locking in 20%, trimming at 30%, things of that nature, right? That means I'm selling the contract at 20, selling another contract at 30%, and I'm out of the trade, right? So let's jump to the next piece, which is risk, okay? Now, you can assess whatever you want for your risk tolerance. Some people have a higher risk tolerance, so they don't mind losing 20% on a trade. So that means that if I have $166 in the position or in the trade for that one trade I was going to take out of 3, then that means let's do this 166 into the trade. That means I am going to max lose, what is that, 16, 30, 32? $32. So I want you to pause the video right here. If you need to rewind this piece, this is one of the most important pieces, because when people look at trading, they typically look at, man, I'm going to lose $500, or man, that's a lot of money. I could lose all the 2,000. This is where risk management comes into play, because each trade you take, you manage your risk on that trade. So I'm not trying to risk all 166, right? Because I'm going to keep my risk very tight at 20% and only risk $32. So now you're saying, well, am I willing to risk $32 to make 60? Get my drift? You're like, wait, Brian, $60? What do you mean? That means if I take a $166 position and I yield $60, right? My profit, right? Profit equals $60 on that trade, 166. Okay. That means that I have just had a 40% trade. Okay. You do the math here. What is 20%? That's $32. Another 20%, that's roughly, right, $60. So I've just had a 35 to 40% positive trade on $166, right? So that is how you look at this when we're trading with proper, right, management of our accounts and proper risk management of the particular trade. Okay. We're not looking at, oh man, that's $166. I'm going to lose it all. That could be something else I spend it on. Yeah, you could, but that's where this comes into play. Okay. Let's go to the final piece here, the take profit targets. Okay. You will hear in trading this R multiple. Okay. R multiple meaning that what I'm risking, I typically want to take that in profit either ×2 or ×3, right? A good risk to reward, right? How much I'm risking to the reward I'm getting, right? R multiple is typically around 3. Okay. So that means that if I'm risking $32, I want to times this by 3. I'm looking to make $80, potentially $90 on the trade. Now, does that happen? Maybe. Yeah, we do it. We have a lot of 40, 50% trades. But what if I'm just looking for 2 times what I'm risking? Then I'm looking for $64 in that trade. I'm risking 32. I want to make, wait. Don't quote me on that. A 1R multiple is a 1-to-1, right? So 1R is I'm making $32, risking 32, making 32. Get my drift? Okay. So, hey, we're going to keep this rolling. 1-to-1, 32 risk, make 32. So when you're making 2R, I want to make 2 times this. So I want to make 64. If I want to do a 3R trade, or every trade I take, I'm looking to make 3 times what I'm risking, then that's when that $96 comes into play. Okay, that's when you get the home runs, the 60% trades, things of that nature. Okay, so 2R to 3R multiple of what I'm risking. Now, I don't want you to, when I'm teaching this and I have my clients in live trading and things of that nature, I don't have them calculating in their head like, man, Brian, am I 2R multiple? No, it's just something to keep in the back of the mind when you actually take your profits. What I typically recommend is just when someone's starting out and you see 15 to 20%, take it. 15 to 20%, take it, right? Sometimes it's like, I just see green, take it, right? When you get started. But 15 to 20%, if you can get comfortable with 15 to 20% on your money every single time, it's like clockwork. And that's when you start increasing your position size. So you know that, man, every time I take this trade, I make 20%. What if I put $500 into this trade instead of 166? Right? Now I've made $100 a day, right? 20% of 500, $100. So that is when it becomes clockwork and a system and a skill set, right? versus being scared or fearful or not knowing how this game works, right? Or skill set works. Because a lot of folks consider it gambling. They consider it, you don't know where it's going up or going down. People just put things in. No, that's when we know the charts. All right. So as promised, I'm going to jump into this last piece here on the charts. And I'm going to show you that Apple trade, right, that we have. And while I'm doing this, right, I'll have some links down below if you need some free stocks or a brokerage for your trading journey. I have my Robinhood link down below, and also this is Webull, right? So I love this Webull platform. You can do everything. I've set this up. These are my custom settings here. You can see here that I have my options layout. I have my crypto. I have SPY, IWM, all the indexes, my side watches, right? Things of that nature. And this is all in my custom build out, okay? So let's go back here to Apple, okay? And I go on a weekly chart on Apple, and I see that Apple has been tremendously moving up. And I see that last time Apple got at this level of 236, okay, it came back down, okay? And you see this candle, how it's looking right now, right? So I will come into what we call the options chain, okay? And I see these numbers here, and I'm like, man, Apple's sitting at $235, right? I know we're in extreme greed. We could have a potential pullback. So it's, for simplistic sake, I want to go into maybe next week contracts. And if I'm managing that $500 account, okay, and I know my position size at $166, I could come into here and look on the puts, right? Put down the phone, calls, pick up the phone. And I could look at this 232.5. Because again, I think Apple personally, and I don't think you're assessing and analyzing based on the charts that Apple is going to pull back a couple of bucks by next week, which is realistic. And I would come into here and I would say, yeah, I could see Apple coming back to 232.5 based on the charts in my analysis. And I would look at this price right here. And you're like, wait a minute, Brian, 120, you're talking $1.29? No. Remember what I said at the beginning, 100 shares included in an options contract. So I'm buying a put. I want it to go to 232.5. I have it by next week. That contract is $129. Okay. I'm buying the ask, $129. Okay. So that falls within my parameters. Okay. I can buy one contract and still protect my account. Right now, what happens if that goes to 232.5 by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest? That contract will begin to increase. Okay. It will begin to go up to $150, $160, $200, and then I would sell it, right? When I think that it has gotten to my price or I have reached my take profit targets. Okay. And in between that, I bought it for 129, sold it for 200. There is my, 69 bucks, or excuse me, $71, right? There's my $71 profit. Do you see how this can work for my beginners, right? How you can manage a very small account by picking the right contracts and analyzing on specific stocks if it fits in with your risk management and your account size. Now, do you see how it can get very tough? Because what if I want to, or what if, I'm like, man, I want to trade Meta. Okay. I want to trade Facebook. I want to trade Meta. Well, look at these contracts for next week, right? I think Meta's coming down. There's $600, $500, $400 per contract. Now, that's not very pricey for those with larger accounts, but if you have a small account, this is one that you probably would not be able to trade, right? Because you're using all of your account, right? Which is why I just told everyone how to manage a small account and grow it and continuously be in the game, okay? Be in the skill, right? And be able to grow and manage that account properly. So when you increase your size, increase your account, you have a larger account, you stick with the same rules, all right? I don't think I forgot anything. I think that was really the basics I wanted to teach, all right? With that being said, thank you guys so much. What I'll do really quick is I will throw up our Leverage University here and just show you where you can go, okay? If you want to join just our community, right, you can join the community inside of our WAP platform. But if you want to book a call with myself and talk more about our one-on-one mentorship, right, or life coaching, or maybe you want to start a business, credit, anything of that nature, check down below with this link. It'll be down in the description, as well as our club. That is where you can just be a part of the community, learn a little bit more, say, hey, I like the YouTube video. I want to support. I just want to kind of inject myself in. But these are where all the information is inside of our university section, where you can get just our trading floor, all of our trainings, and then also you have live trading and then one-on-one mentorship. All right. So here is inside of our Discord. You can see here it's pretty robust. Okay. Because I don't just trade. I am a life coach and also a business mentor as well. So you can see here we have our coaches corner where I'm teaching and coaching my entrepreneurs, right? Our trading floor with all the resources there that you need, right? We got some ideas there separated by sector, our swing trades that we have closed, right? That we have still open, right? Some long-term holds that we're looking at, right? One-on-one clients. And then here's our university section with all the trainings available to you, right? And down here is where I keep private one-on-one clients and their information, all right? That being said, thank you guys and ladies so much for listening. Until next time, let me know what you thought of this video down below. If you'd like an intro to options, maybe you want me to go a little bit more robust into options trading, right? I will make that video, but this was just for managing a small account and just a little bit of touch of how options trading works. All right. Thank you guys so much. Peace, love, and blessings. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.